is one of the most banned in both LPL as well as LCK. Extremely strong right now as far as so many AD junglers that you can pair with it. There's just AD junglers all over the place. Xin Zhao, Sin, extremely powerful right now. And Takeover has had some of his best performances on this champion. So if you ban away the LeBlanc, then looking at his history, you would force him a little bit more towards those melees.
Yeah, clearly we can see TSM trying to, limit the options for the bottom lane there, but early Thresh pick, wouldn't be shocked to see it. It is one of those really aggressive supports, gives you a little bit of an engage option, but it's also a very strong 2v2 laner. Could be paired with something like a Kalista, but it's going to be the Jinx instead. If you hit the hook, you can flay into the Chompers as well. Have that long CC chain. You do have the ability to push pretty heavily here, and the roams are going to be there for Huhi.
Plus, when you look across the aisle, you see the champion that in the previous year was paired a lot with Thresh and the Aphelios. Those immobile hyper carries love the protection of the Lantern. They love having Thresh there to be the bodyguard. But if we're talking about spooky champions, Viego, he's back and he's in the hands of Closer here in game number 1.
And last time we saw Closer playing Viego in the LCS, he was running things in playoffs. Had a 75% win rate across 8 games in playoffs on Viego. He was smashing kids.
Finals MVP.
Yep, not
for
bad.
Closer on Viego. Such a strong combination. And you do have multiple reset champions on this team now. So 100 Thieves indexing very heavily into these 5-on-5 situations. Get 1 kill, you get to run away with the game. Jinx gets excited, Viego gets his reset. Could be very scary. So that also makes you think about denial tools for those kills.
Yeah.
Stopwatches are huge. Guardian Angel is a huge purchase, especially for stuff like Xin Zhao.
And I think the Syndra ban here is pretty smart. That's a champion that can help get you that first kill, that has the upfront burst to secure that first kill, that skirmishes well with Viego. Because a lot of times when we see Closer having success on the Viego, it's actually fighting around scuttles, it's these early skirmishes, these close fights where he gets that reset just barely and then takes over.
Also, one of the biggest detriments that you have when you have Aphelios is the lack of mobility, and since you don't have the Thresh, there's no reposition. Syndra is one of the hardest things for Aphelios to deal with. Long-range skill shot stuns. Those can be a huge pain, so they're also protecting Instinct a little bit with this one. Aphelios much more would rather thrive in the short-range situation into stuff that's going to be more melee-focused.
Well, our second half of the bans are done. It's Syndra and Vex banned away by TSM as Kennen and Jace are banned out by 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves now having to blind pick one of those 2 solo lanes. They will blind pick the Renekton, and the response could be a Vayne top maybe from
One
TSM.
of the biggest things I'm looking for TSM here has been the flex of Viper's champion pool. This guy's played so many champions recently that I want to see him really fully utilize this counter pick. There's the LeBlanc I was talking about, though.
It's
and we do get the Vayne as well. So you get Takeover's LeBlanc. They didn't ban it away, as well as the Viper counter pick. If we're trying to hype up the Academy players here coming in for TSM, this is the way to do it.
Absolutely. You got to go big. Take a swing. You're going at the defending champs here as an Academy roster. I like the Vayne top. This is really feast or famine for the most part. Corki as the answer here to LeBlanc. Because, I'm assuming he's going to play Cleanse. You pretty much have to, I do think. And if you are going to play that route, you can battle up against this Renekton in the 1v1. If Closer is coming in, that's where things get really tricky. If the Vayne starts to fall behind, these matchups become impossible. Renekton will just be jumping in on top of you, winning those fights. So Hyper is going to have to be playing up around that top lane with Viper, have to protect his top laner, allow him to play aggressive in the 1v1 so that he's not getting exploited by Closer.
Meanwhile, you don't want to have all volatile lanes if you're sitting at this from the perspective of 100 Thieves. So they're going to need Abbeddage to try and avoid a lot of the pressure from the LeBlanc mid from Takeover so that the other lanes can get that attention and not have to deal with Xin Zhao Vayne kind of popping off there up on the top side and trying to take over first Rift Herald control.
Right, and talking about that early control, man, Xin Zhao and LeBlanc, this is a duo of mid and jungle that if they do get ahead, if they are able to take that control nice and early, they can affect the entire map in a very scary way.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest scary point for 100 Thieves is their early mid jungle. Corki not going to have nearly as many opportunities as LeBlanc for setting up those mid jungle opportunities, especially since Takeover has gone with the Ignite on the LeBlanc and they're going for a level 1 towards the top side.
Yeah, moving out straight to that top side. We'll see if they can find Ssumday. I mean, Yursan is going to have the hook. Ssumday might have to flash. I think he's going to have to flash here.
Okay, Ssumday. He gets pulled back in by the dredge line, rooted down. Goes for the slice. He tries to get away. He's rooted up. He's beaten down, and it's first blood of the 2022 LCS season.
Okay.
TSM Academy! First blood on the LCS champions! Who saw that one coming? Good play up on the top side, though. Again, you come back to some of these situations where you're setting up a lot of these younger players looking to take a game off of the LCS champs. Go for a level 1. Try and get an advantage started early on. And yes, because Ssumday does not flash the hook, which you have to do in that situation, you get to follow up with the chain.
Yeah.
So your flash later then just goes into the bucket. Now you're sitting in a situation where your top lane is Vayne, Xin Zhao, trying to punish a Renekton with no flash, started E. He's going to have 0 top lane control.
Yeah, Viper didn't have to use a summoner, right? Viper is actually playing Flash Ghost. He's not playing the cleanse, so you have to be a little bit worried about that later on, you know, because you can get Flash-empowered stun. Closer can come in as well. You can try to burst him down. But in that straight-up 1v1, it's going to be brutal. And Instinct now, starting with the extra longsword on that bottom side, is going to be really nice for that 2v2.
Exactly. You get to win both sides of the map with one early gameplay. First blood gold, that's great. That's something, you know, you get it before minion spawn. Okay, you get an extra starting item for your Aphelios bottom side. But really, you don't even get to play on the other side of the map here with Vayne pushing in here. Viper, you know, full authority over there. As you mentioned, double movement summoner spells, so can pressure extremely hard on the Renekton, push him in, and Closer doesn't even want to go up there. It is actually a death trap for him if he does.
I will say I'm surprised to see Instinct actually playing Fleet. That's so uncommon on Aphelios. Almost all the time, you are seeing like any of the other 3 options. You know, Conqueror is very popular, Lethal Tempo is incredibly popular these days, even PTA some. Pretty much no one plays Fleet. It does show that he's giving respect over to the laning prowess, I think, of FBI and Huhi, taking a bit more of a defensive rune, just trying to get through the laning phase, knowing that he's going to be in tough against these guys.
And I can respect that a lot. FBI and Huhi were a huge part of what made 100 Thieves a championship team, but now we got ourselves a bit of a dicey situation here around mid. Closer's able to find a lot of damage onto Hyper, who tries to get away over the wall there.
Oh, nice.
Wind becomes lightning, provides an escape route onto the chicken camp.
And a lot of credit also to Abbeddage chunking out Takeover so that Huhi can come pick up the pieces and get a kill for the 100 Thieves. I mean, Corki into LeBlanc early, especially since LeBlanc had Ignite. Abbeddage doing so much work there, winning the mid matchup, allowed Closer to take the 1v1 versus Hyper, and then they even get the extra gold credit there as Huhi off the support room cleans it up.
I mean, when you're playing Ignite into TP and you are the one behind early, it gets so bad. I mean, the base was not a good base there at all for Takeover. He didn't have much gold. Abbeddage can fully reset it, go back with quite a bit of gold. He's going to have a decent buy here, and TP doesn't even have to be spent.
Yeah, we didn't have the camera over mid lane, but Abbeddage has to have gotten a good Foss Bomb trade onto him, which should be rare, as LeBlanc being the aggressor, you know, with Distortion, shouldn't allow herself to get chunked so heavily like that.
Right.
Meanwhile, now you're living in this world where a huge level 1 for TSM Academy players did set them up for a lot of early success, but 100 Thieves have shown their resilience already, pushing back with a huge advantage now in mid lane out of that early skirmish.
Yep, absolutely.
Engage from Yursan here in bottom side. Counterattack with the death sentence, not going to find Instinct, so we don't get to see it go much further. But I love the fact we got 2 of these hook supports in bottom lane. Playmaking is always on the table, gentlemen.
And Abbeddage is going to be sitting pretty here. You know, he is going for the early tier here, trying to get up to that Muramana. And he has that Null Magic Mantle already, which is going to make the kind of 100-0 type look a lot more difficult for Takeover on this LeBlanc. And if Corki kind of can get into your zone where you're just safely farming, you're not pressured, the scaling on this champion is so incredibly ridiculous now. Like, you are a late game monster.
Certainly are, and Abbeddage giving as good as he gets here. Yeah, that's more how it should go, though, where Takeover doesn't get, you know, hit with the Foss Bomb afterwards, is able to back out from it, but the damage may have been done. Let's see how it actually determines the vision game for this mid lane, because what you want for the LeBlanc, you know, to your point about scaling for Corki, is to wrest that early control away with your kill pressure and get your vision blooming around the mid lane so you can actually make that play more offensively. He still has his Ignite, his flash is coming back up off of cooldown, and they've got support jungle moving into the river to get that vision we were talking about.
And we'll see if they can make any sort of plays off this, because I always feel that you kind of have to make, you know, that second push back on the Corki pre-8 minutes, because once he gets his package, that's like another free base basically where he can come back out on the map and kind of use that as a secondary reset alongside that teleport. And Abbeddage is looking like he's in a pretty comfortable spot right now, you know, with all 3 biscuits, none having to have been used. He's not really being pressured that heavily just yet.
And as we are 6 minutes into the game state finds itself in an incredibly equal situation, my friends. We talked about that awesome level 1 for TSM, getting the money in the bottom lane, having the control in the top lane, but things are feeling all right. Viper now, he has that level 2 boots, the Berserker's Greaves versus nothing on Ssumday, so the Vayne will continue running things up there in that 1v1. Meanwhile, here on the bottom side, dead even farm despite the extra long sword at the start for Instinct, so it hasn't been any sort of an issue for FBI or Huhi.
Yeah, and we have seen the kind of expected giant CS gap in top lane emerge. Hold on, this mid lane.
Abbeddage with the flash away. He'll stay alive through the Ignite. So LeBlanc going to lose the extra kill pressure there, but she does get the flash into the Corki.
And it is going to be a very necessary flash, but it does also mean 100 Thieves moving up from their bottom lane push to that dragon. And again, FBI and Huhi, there's a reason, you know, they afford so much respect from so many other laners. You know, Azael alluded to the fleet footwork being taken there for the Aphelios, but they're still able to get the push on bottom side and get their timing coordinated there with Closer to pick up the dragon number 1.
And of course, that first dragon was the Kim Tech Drake, so we will not be getting one of those new rifts here this game later on. Second one queued up there. You could see on the inside of the wall will be the cloud, so 4.5 minutes away from that. Of course, Rift Herald going to spawn in about 30 seconds. We'll see if the jungler is going to play towards that one very aggressively or not. Right now, you can see Huhi again hovering near mid with both mid laners down to only a fraction of their health.
Yeah, and I am interested to see that Closer hasn't tried to make any kind of move up towards that top side. Potentially, they are just worried about that 2v2. Viper obviously indexing very heavily towards the move speed. He has the Ghost. He rushed tier 2 boots here with the Berserker Greaves. Ssumday grabbed some Pabbies for himself, so it may just be put Ssumday on an island, hope he can survive as best as he can, and really just try to focus on playing through their bot lane, as 100 Thieves are known for, and stacking dragons.
Yeah, I actually love this you know, idea from Viper, because if you're looking at the matchup, and even with Viego as the jungler, if you have the early upgrade on boost, plus you have Ghost and Flash, even with the flashes from Renekton and from Viego, you can have some pretty strong confidence to be able to outplay so many of these situations up on the top side of the map that there is the window. If both of them are able to flash, if Renekton does get the flash stun into Viego, being able to flash to follow up, cover the distance and get this done, then maybe you can get that kill on the Vayne, but it's very risky to go for with all the movement speed advantage that Viper does have, that if you miss, the punishment will be huge.
Oh, bottom side though. Bit of 2v2 action breaking out as Huhi gets away back underneath the turret. Both of his summoner spells now expended, half HP remaining. No ultis used except for that of Aphelios. Abbeddage goes in with a package here in mid lane. That delivery is going to take a chunk out of Takeover, but otherwise everything is fine.
Pretty good value, though, out of the package. You know, use that to kind of secure their Rift Herald. You don't want to fight in the Corki when he does have that available. That is straight up just like a Rumble ultimate on your W.
Yep.
So being able to use that, they grab that Rift Herald on the top side, now moving back towards that bottom side. Going to pick up another scuttle here. You know, still a lot of gold to be had, even though the experience has been nerfed from it. Junglers prioritizing them very highly.
Yeah, I mean, just the first scuttle crab with the 80% reduced experience. All the rest of them are great. I do want to shout out Instinct right now. You know, 17-year-old. He's coming straight from 100 Thieves next, straight from Academy, and highest gold in the game at the moment, set up on Aphelios. So pretty good position for him to be sitting in for this TSM squad, who, and gets the extra plate as well. Minions finishing the work here. Very good early game setup. And now, when you do have the mid game with LeBlanc, with Vayne, you want to really get some work done on these side lanes to try and get some spread to the map, because 100 Thieves have set up that reset sort of style that we were talking about earlier. And the hook lands!
So nicely done, and he flashes right into the flay to be thrown back into the chompers. FBI and Huhi are ready to go.
Huhi with the perfect hook there. Just out of sight, had the read on Instinct, and Instinct didn't get much distance with that flash, as you said, flayed right back into the chompers. Nice lockdown. And they're gonna get not only that kill, they're gonna get multiple plates here. It's looking like probably 3 for FBI, all solo gold, because Huhi took the kill. He got out of there as soon as possible.
Sometimes it just takes that one ability hitting just right to really change the landscape. And down here in the bottom lane, 100 Thieves are good, but top side, Closer and Ssumday, can they make this work on Viper?
There it is,
Flash into the stun! Flash into the follow-up, stun. Viper looking to get away. He's flashed out. He tries to disengage, but the damage is enough. And 100 Thieves find number 3.
The double flashes! You have to use both flashes and you have to get it! It was so close, even in that case for him getting away, but he doesn't, so 100 Thieves make the punishment and they want more.
Oh, that was terrible from Hyper. He walks up to both of them and just gets smacked.
And Clayton, it's 2 kills and a giant triple stacked minion wave. So 100 Thieves, the veterans, the LCS champs, make a giant play on the top side of the map. And man, the second kill just kind of going right over into their hands with all the minions dying up there too is icing on top of that cake.
Yeah, and Closer, I think, was still in the Vayne form. He was still in the Vayne ghost, so he got to condemn, I think, actually out of the Renekton stun onto the Xin there. But right, just like that, Ssumday probably has more gold now, I would expect, than Viper, because he gets a kill, he got the plates, yeah, he's 300 gold ahead, so much credit deserved by Ssumday. To start at level 1 against a Vayne top, die, lose your flash, and have to start E, and to now 12 minutes in, 1 gank comes from his jungler. He's up in gold, 100 Thieves, dropping Herald on bot side. That tower is gone, and they are all of a sudden cruising. This is going to be an over 4,000 gold lead.
Yeah, the massive amount of gold in their pockets now. 23,000 to 19,000 gold. The second Drake of the game is live as well, but only for a moment longer, despite the fact that TSM does have vision here. You'll see that Closer needs no help to take it. TSM has no way to interfere with this objective whatsoever. 100 Thieves have taken a game that was pretty close for a while and absolutely smashed it here in these last few minutes.
It certainly was exciting. It's about to get exciting in the top lane because you have 3 people rotating over. Looks like they're fishing around for a possible dive, but already with these resets for 100 Thieves, you have to be very careful as TSM. You're flirting with disaster. If you make one more big mistake like that, guess what? Gold bounties are going to pop up for you, and that's not actually a good thing. That means you are at a giant
What are you talking about? It means you can get more gold, Kobe.
We may have our first objective bounties of the LCS season popping up in this game if 100 Thieves have anything to say about it.
I mean, 4,000 gold lead at 13 minutes is not a place I ever want to be in when I'm playing League of Legends, objective bounties or not, and things are rough here for TSM. Gale Force at least completed for your Aphelios, so they got 1 mythic item up and running. Across the table, though, Divine Sunderer on the Viego, Kraken Slayer there for the Jinx, Corki building towards that evolution of the Muramana. This 100 Thieves roster is getting scarier, and they're getting scarier more quickly.
Absolutely, and bad goes to worse when you realize the kind of composition that they're running. You know, Jinx and Corki being that far ahead is really threatening. They got both the early dragons, so they can force you to actually come and fight them at these souls, and Mountain Soul is going to be difficult for TSM's comp to actually deal with. You know, they're pretty burst reliant on getting that poke, that first kill with LeBlanc, and the Mountain Soul shield is going to be really helpful.
He tries to go for a hook up here on the top side now with the flash into the play. They're still looking to make the play. They want to get Closer out. He's only got 200 HP remaining. Super Mega Death Rocket not going to find a good target here. Abbeddage has teleported into the fight, has the package ready to go. Instinct. All right, they're fine. No delivery. No delivery.
The power of the package. You can ward off an entire team because you know you've got the free out. You can just package away, get super aggressive. If any sort of rebuttal starts to emerge, you're able to get out of there. So he zones them enough for FBI to finish up that turret. And guess what? Your Jinx getting this fed in a team that wants to group on the side of 100 Thieves, wants to get these team fights, has the dragon lead, so they've got the objective to pull you into those. 5-on-5 situations as well is a perfect scenario for them. So 100 Thieves can easily just keep up focusing on those objectives. They've taken the 2 outer towers on both sides, so they get the earlier push and then collapse into neutrals. You know, Rift Herald number 2 isn't the biggest advantage just in itself, but you do want to remove it from the map when your other team has objective bounties, because it's afforded the extra 500 value of bounties. So sometimes if the other team can get a trade and pick that one up, that is a lot of gold into their pocket. So you want to remove that from the map. Then you're able to transition in time, 2 minutes, plenty of time to set up your vision for Dragon number 3 in your soul point.
And it's also going to be perfect, you know, for that Dragon. You have the Herald here. You can go mid, drop it, very likely knock down the last outer here, and force TSM to actually respond to that, so you can grab a free Dragon for yourself for that 3rd Dragon. One of the things that always becomes a little bit weird when you are playing from ahead, you know, they're massively ahead, so they really are fully in control, is that you don't want to give anyone too much alone time in a side lane. Because if someone like Viper can push up to that tower, knock down a turret, get the objective bounties, that additional gold that's injected into the team can give them perhaps some avenue back in.
Yeah, I think that is for sure the goal for TSM. If you're looking at from their perspective right now, they've got Vayne and they've got LeBlanc. Double summoner spell, double movement summoner spell Vayne at that. So they want to try and push as much as they can on the side lanes, try and get an outer turret gold bounty, which are the smallest ones, but there's still something for you. Plus, you're not, you know, really set up to straight up fist fight 100 Thieves. You need a surprise burst fight or an outplay in the side lane to actually get back into this game. So now's the time when, you know, Viper and Takeover got to take some risks, and he's doing just that. I like to see it. Push it as much as you can, get your health advantages, see if you can push out a little bit. Their vision right now is trying to push at least back into the river area to allow for some of that side lane play.
And you can see with the Dragon spawning in about 30 seconds, 100 Thieves have gone back. Everyone's making their purchases. Abeddage critically needs 15 more mana charges in order to get the evolution of the Mana Mune into the Muramana. That's going to be huge in terms of his damage output in an upcoming fight. You know they want to grab that. Hurricane completed on FBI means lots of AoE damage potential here. Ssumday going for the 1v1 against Viper. Viper popping the ghost. Tries to condemn his opponent away. Ssumday will be taken low. As long as Viper has that final hour and that ghost, he's in control, but unfortunately for him, League of Legends is a team game. Closer's coming right on in there, misses the stun, and it don't even matter. Closer's got the kill.
Yeah, your goal that for TSM is to isolate, to get a 1v1 possible outplay potential, but if you don't make it quick, the collapse comes. 100 Thieves have full priority here because they've got the extra prowess from their 5 in mid lane, so everybody coming down to protect Ssumday. He gets out with basically a 50-50 on the duel, and so basically collapse inside and pick up the Dragon number 3 soul point without any sort of fight. Looks like it's all going according to plan here for the 100 Thieves, and as you already mentioned, Flowers, with the Hurricane, like the team fighting 400 Thieves is undeniable here with Jinx with a Hurricane. You have no other options than to try and go for those side lane or isolated sneaky LeBlanc burst plays from the side of TSM.
Yeah, you know, honestly, I'd like to see Takeover maybe hovering Viper, play in that side lane, see if you can get somebody to opt into a fight and try to, you know, get a 2v1 play, get a kill, use that to go towards an objective bounty, take down additional tower, something like that. Because if you play this game slow and steady, there's no chance of winning from this game state for TSM. 100 Thieves are going to play for the next Dragon. You have to make something happen prior to that. And Abbeddage has the Lost Chapter here, very likely going towards Ludens, which is, you know, really popular poke-style build. You go for the Muramana into the Ludens. Crown can be an okay defensive option, but I think the poke is going to serve them well here.
Yeah, I agree in situations where you're playing a team comp that is basically all squishies. When your Rockets can deal 40% of someone's life with a big one hitting somebody from a screen away, then I'm down with the Ludens build. I definitely don't think everyone should just be kind of mindlessly going for it because, yeah, it does feel good to shoot off big rockets.
Shield bow's more consistent, I think, you know, but Ludens is really, really popular. Most people, I think, are going it these days, and, you know, I think in this comp, I think it makes sense. He's got a you know, 3 melee squad in front of him and should be protected pretty well.
I can appreciate most builds and adaptations in League of Legends as long as you aren't just putting the cookie cutter into every single game and approaching it every single time the same way. 100 Thieves are approaching this one nicely, and we're approaching about the halfway point towards that next dragon. Just a little bit over 3 minutes until what would be the Mountain Soul for 100 Thieves spawns. TSM are forced out of their own bottom side jungle. You can see the vision here. All
Ssumday
vision from
wants that.
both sides being
had to lean
placed
against
down
Vayne.
in TSM's jungle. TSM trying to ward defensively, 100 Thieves clearing it out. TSM is struggling to have any sort of a hold on somebody.
You knew what I was laughing about.
Yeah,
Somebody's like, you have a red buff. You don't need a refresh on this sucker. Gimme.
I want to have some fun too. I leaned against a Vayne for 20 minutes.
Time for fun?
Oh, flash out of Huhi there, so at least no playmaking out of that one, but he drags the Vayne right into the chompers.
Oh.
Viper, you can't get caught like that, buddy. 100 Thieves gets it for free.
Yeah, that's rough. Viper trying to get something there. He saw Huhi flash back, and that kind of gave him the confidence, but Huhi still had the hook available. Connects right into the chompers. You're locked down. You're going down. And there's another one.
Oh, they got the hook. Follow-up coming in from Ssumday and FBI. They found the first kill. Hyper has the ability to stay alive through the ulti there. Crescent Guard gets him away, but 100 Thieves have now found a tier 2 turret and 2 kills for nothing.
And Jinx is mad. Just listen to these autos from FBI. This bottom turret is going to get annihilated, and you have to back away from them a lot earlier than other objectives. Looks like they actually get the respawn and Takeover comes out, but FBI can have the confidence to play fairly aggressively with the rocket range there, knowing that Huhi's got his back with the lantern. Even closer here, dodges out on the chain initially.
Oh!
And it's LeBlanc.
Yep.
Now you see me, now you don't.
He jumped out of the way. I don't know if that would have killed him if it would have hit him. I'm not quite sure.
Would have been close.
It definitely, I think it would have. You don't want to test those.
Right.
We don't want to get into the scientific experiments, life and death situation, because if you get your R off, then even if that doesn't 100% kill you, he's got the auto to follow it back up. So definitely trying to push it to the edge, though, is what TSM have to do at this point, as we've kind of stated a bunch of times, to try and get that comeback mechanic working. There are still all towers standing for them to try and push on somewhere, but 100 Thieves just have such a massive advantage that even that is a daunting task.
Yeah.
Corki recalling right now. Couldn't hear if he quite had a package ready. Just completes Ludens.
He did get packaged. You can see how fast he's moving on the map now. IE just completed, Sterix just completed, Ludens just completed. I think it's just too far gone now.
Yeah.
This game is completely out of reach. It's hard to imagine a way in which TSM could come back at this point.
Here we go.
Well, they try to go for it there with the Flash Nautilus hook, but they don't land any valuable targets. Instinct just loses a massive chunk of HP to the Rockets. Super Mega Death Rocket not going to find much more success afterwards, but 100 Thieves, they've got control over the middle of the map. They have control over the path to the Drake Pit, and they're the ones who get Mountain Soul here in 5 seconds.
They certainly do. And as the package is about to time out, Abbeddage can't even draw a line in the sand. TSM, though, they know they can't fight, so they're trying to trade if they can. Flirting around Baron. Dragon's finished up too quickly, though, so they get a little bit of vision and have to recall to defend the base. Here come the Mountain Soul empowered 100 Thieves.
I don't think there's a lot of this game left to play, my friend.
Sir.
It's looking like we're just about towards the finish line here. 100 Thieves, they will crack open that middle lane first. Tier 3 turret is down. Remember, the bottom lane Tier 3 also in dire straits. Aphelios ulti finds the target onto 3. Root lands onto all 3 of them now, but there's no follow-up. They cannot get in range of these powerful enemy marksmen. Closers on a killing spree. 100 Thieves are just running over this TSM squad.
I mean, there was the level 1 kill. Besides that, it's been a perfect game for 100 Thieves. They haven't given up a tower, they haven't given up an objective, and they haven't given up a kill since that level 1 5-man top onto Ssumday.
So what you're saying is, work on your level 100 Thieves. No more slacking, okay? You're LCS champs, but we need to see perfect.
All I'm saying is we threw up a tweet from a guy who was a fan of TSM saying, can't wait to see the perfect game. Well, it almost happened, but the wrong way. So unfortunately for him and the other TSM fans, things are looking a little dicey here, my friends. Takeover. Oh, I think he got took over. 100 Thieves. They find number 9. Hyper with the flash over the wall just to get away. It's a 12,500 gold lead.
Yeah.
It's
That's a paddling.
yeah, that's
Get him,
one
Viper!
way to put it. Viper's going in. He's looking for the solo kill onto FBI. Knock, knock, my friend. Knock,
That is
knock.
Mountain Soul in action right there. Live with about 50 health. Just barely not able to kill off FBI. Respect the attempt. 100 Thieves pushing on all sides.
And here we go, this top lane push, looking for our next inhibitor turret. They got that cannon minion there. He's got to wait for his little buddies to get in front and tank those turret shots. And goodbye, tier 3 turret topside. Funny enough, that one bottom lane that had 20% HP left on it will be the last inhibitor turret to fall if it even needs to. 100 Thieves has everybody but FBI here in the enemy base. One more cannon shot on to take down that inhib there in top lane. Still plenty of time with both of these inhibitors down. The whole map belongs to the Thieves. Closer's gonna go down here, immediately get rid of this wave spawning on the TSM side, so they're ready to bring everybody down to the tier 3 here. This should be TSM's last stand.
All right, let's see what it looks like. Collapse comes down from Ssumday, closing in. Guess what? The tower's gonna explode, and FBI will get excited.
Instinct has to pop the heal immediately just to try to get away. Yursan's already dead. Flash into the flay. Huhi's ready to go. Hyper trying to survive in the middle of everybody, but a double kill over to FBI, immediately finding Viper. Only Takeover left, and he's gone with the rocket. 100 Thieves. There's a reason the prediction graph looked like a 100 Thieves advertisement. They're ready to go here in game number 1.
Can't ask for much more than that from 100 Thieves. Damn near perfection, kicking off the lock-in tourney here and showing why they are the LCS champions.
Didn't even have to sit down for that one.
No, they're already out of their